What's up, guys? Welcome to the Football Corner. It is Tuesday. We had a great weekend of football. We're going to talk fantasy today. Now, this is the first time I'm kind of doing this kind of video, so stick with me. I don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, but we're going to talk about fantasy. Personally, I could have done better. I lost in 2 out of the 4 leagues that I'm in. Very sad. And the reason that I lost was thanks to Benny Snell and Darius Slayton. I don't know if I talked about it last week. I'm pretty sure I did. It's called chasing points. And I said, don't do it. And guess who did it? This guy right here. One league, I have James Conner. I picked up Benny Snell. I started Benny Snell and benched James Conner. James Conner had 20 points. Benny Snell in this league, negative 0.9. Wow. Then in this same exact league, I benched DJ Moore, who had 11 points week 1, and started Darius Slayton against the Bears defense because I'm just that smart. And he wound up with an astounding 6.3 points. I cannot believe it. Cannot believe it. DJ Moore had 20 points. So just in those 2 starts, if I had left it, I would have probably won that league. Or in that league anyways. Maybe not. But maybe. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. I also benched James Robinson last week. Kept Todd Gurley in. And Todd Gurley had 6 points. And James Robinson had 21. Come on. So don't do that. And that's rule number 1 why you don't do that. I should have known. I knew that James Conner was going to be healthy. It just didn't make sense for me to start Benny Snell, and I did. And Darius Slayton, I should have just left him on the bench for 1 week because, yeah, whatever. But that brings us into our first segment, I guess. I don't know what I'm going to call it. It's players that you probably should not have on your team. Benny Snell is one of them. He had a great week 1. He had 114 yards. He did really good. Honestly, James Conner looked very bad when he was playing, and then he got hurt. James Conner looked really good last week. Benny Snell didn't look good. He fumbled and didn't get many touches at all. You don't need him. I mean, if something happens to James Conner, he gets hurt, make sure you pick him up again probably. But he's a waste of space. Don't pick him up. Drop him. I'm dropping him in all my leagues that I picked him up because I'm just a genius. Another player who I think if you have him, sell him high right now is Odell Beckham. He had a really good week last week. 17 or something like that points. Trade that guy away. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Another guy who has completely disappointed me thus far this season, Rob Gronkowski. 0 points. 0 freaking points. I am not dropping him. I wouldn't drop him if you have him. If you can spare the bench space, put him on your bench. Wait until he breaks out. Just don't start Gronk until he actually does something because you can't. How can you start him after 3 points and then 0 points? You just can't. He had 1 target, didn't hold in. So those players, Benny Snell, Gronk, Odell Beckham, stay away from those guys. Do not pick them up. Do not pick them up. I mean, if you have Odell, I don't imagine that he'd be a free agent. In my league, he is because one of my friends dropped him. It's crazy. But, whatever. I mean, he didn't want Odell. He's doing like crap the first. If you know, you know. He was doing pretty bad. Saquon Barkley fans and owners, I'm so sorry. Big loss in the NFL community on that one. You know, I just don't like to see players, even if I hate the player, like there's very few people I just like, man, I wish he doesn't succeed. But Saquon's just a really good guy, really great back, and it's just like, you know, when players go down, it's just really, he's not even on my team. Like, I don't even have Barkley, but it's just like a mood killer, you know, to have that guy just not be there and just not do the things that he does, and we won't be able to see the highlight tapes for a year. We won't be able to see Saquon Barkley play, and it's fun to watch him play. So that's just an absolutely terrible thing that happened to him. Jonathan Taylor, big week last week, huge week, 19 points. If people were lucky enough to get him, congrats. I don't know if I was ready to talk about people that are doing good yet. I think I still want to talk about people that did bad last week. I don't know. Yeah, let's talk about people that did good. Some pickups I got for you guys. I don't know if you guys watched the Chargers game versus the Chiefs. It's kind of good. It's kind of a good game. There was this guy named Joshua Kelly, right? Number 27. Dude had 23 carries for over 60 yards. He caught for I think 3 receptions and 49 yards. He ended up with 13 points, no touchdowns. The first week he had a touchdown, 60 yards on 12 carries. If you guys watch the game, I know Austin Eckler is a beast and he's a freak in his own right, but Kelly seems to be the guy who's just going to be the pounding ground type guy. He's just going to get a ton of carries. I believe he had more carries than Eckler last week. Obviously, I don't think Eckler's, although he is top 10 in rushing, Eckler, he's more of a receiving back. And I think that this offense is going to utilize both of them really well, and they could be 15-point backs, each of them, because Eckler will get a lot of catches to make up for the carries that Kelly took. And, obviously, Kelly can still catch, so he's going to get some points there too as well. If he's a free agent in your league, you have to target this guy. Like, if you can fit him on there, you have to go after him. You have to. That's like a must. I don't think that you can just let him sit there after 2 amazing performances, 12 and then 13 points. That's pretty good. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but some running backs are not that consistent to get 12 and then 13. Some of them are 3 and then 20. I don't know. Which one do you want? The consistent or inconsistent guy? I don't know. But I think he's definitely a number 1 pickup for me this week. Another guy who should not be a free agent, I picked him up before the season started. James Robinson on the Jaguars had 10 points week 1 with 100 yards. And then week 2, 21 points on my bench because I decided to bench him for whatever reason. I don't know why. I must have been just happy or something. I don't know. It's like, oh, you got me 10 points, so I'm to the bench, I guess. Let's see. He had 16 carries, which was the exact amount that he had in week 1. He didn't have 100 yards week 1. It was 62. My bad. He had 100 yards this week, 102. 1 rushing touchdown. And he caught 3 of his 4 targets for 18 yards. That's not crazy, but that's 3 points in PPR league, which I am all in PPR leagues. 21 points. That's decent. That's really decent. And he had 10 the week before. I know the Armstead guy is going to come back eventually. Should be within a couple weeks. I don't know. Did he have COVID? I know he's on the list, but when he comes back, I don't know. He looked pretty good, but this guy is just 62 and then 102. He's top 10 in rushing. I think he's number 8 or 7. So if he's a free agent, again, another guy, you just cannot be like, whatever, not going to pick him up. You have to. You can't not pick him up. And especially with the injuries to Christian McCaffrey out 4 to 6 weeks, Saquon out the whole year, Mostard's out at least this week. Pick up Jerick McKinnon if you guys can for this week only. And I think Telvin Coleman is hurt. So any other running backs get hurt last week? Probably, right? Philip Lindsay's still out. Malcolm Brown was injured, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, you need running backs, and those 2 running backs I just listed, you need to pick up. If you need the help, obviously. Receivers. Here's a guy, a little biased. Obviously, I'm a Steelers fan. Chase Claypool. You guys see him? He's crazy. He is an absolute monster. And I don't know. I think he can do crazy things. He had 24 points last week. That's amazing. That 84-yard touchdown was awesome. I love to see it. Deontay Johnson had, I think, 23 points. And unfortunately, Juju only had like 7 or 8. So not great for Juju owners. But I do have Claypool. I added him before the season even started. He had only 3 targets, 3 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown. So one of those receptions was 84 of his 88 yards in his touchdown. Week 1, he had 2 targets, but he hasn't missed a target yet. So he's 5 for 5 right now on the year for over 100 yards and a touchdown. I think just the performance last week, I think they're going to get this guy. Crazy combination of speed and strength and height. So I think you're going to see a lot more usage of him down the stretch. Like it's just going to continue to rise. So he's a guy who I'm just like, watch. I'm not saying pick him up right now, but just watch him. A lot of people probably will pick him up, because they're going to see 24 points. A lot of people are like, oh, jump on that, 24-point wide receiver. Let me grab him. But maybe he'll remain a free agent. If you can do it or whatever, just pick him up. I'm going to keep him on my bench until, he's consistently getting these points. But he's a guy I know I'm a Steelers fan, so a little biased, but he's a guy you have to watch out for. Another guy, Russell Gage. In my video, I talked crap about him last week, and then he had 16 points. Like, Julio Jones had 4 last week, and he's playing the Bears. So I don't even know if you start Julio Jones. I don't know if you can bench him. Is that illegal? Is it illegal to bench Julio Jones? I know my cousin who has him in 2 leagues that we're in together, he said he's going to bench him in 1, just in case he goes off, he said. So he doesn't want to miss out on both. Like that, I don't know, man. I don't know. DJ Moore surprised me, having a 20-point game. That was pretty good. Darren Waller went off this week, 28 points. That's honestly amazing. And Leonard Fournette, guys, I don't know. What do you guys think? He might end up being like really, really good for this team. 2 touchdowns. One of them was like a 50-yarder or something. Over 100 yards. 27 points. Wow. Do you have to start him now? I mean, Ronald Jones had 10 points. Do you start Leonard Fournette now? Ronald Jones went from 17 carries to 7 for 23 yards and a touchdown. You might have to start Leonard Fournette if you have him. Or do you sell him high if you're a guy that can afford to sell him high? Leonard Fournette went from 5 carries to 12 carries for 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 4 receptions for 13 yards. So, yeah, he had a good week. And I said that I think Leonard Fournette will get the backfield when he has a game like this. And there it is, second week. I thought he was going to have it the first week, but, yeah, that's pretty good. Another person I'd say buy right now, if you can get your hands on Jerry Jeudy. Obviously, Sutton's out for the year, ACL. Another one of the guys that just got unlucky this weekend. Pick him up. If you can get him. I don't think he's a free agent, shouldn't be. But if he is, snag him. If you can trade for him, do it right now. He only had 10 points last week, so people that will overthink him or not, they won't think about Courtland Sutton being out. So Jerry Jeudy's going to get some targets. And I know you might be like, well, Drew Lock's out. They just got the go, okay? Blake Bortles is playing for the Broncos now. I don't know if he's going to start this week. Probably not. But he's going to start in the future. And if Lock's out for 6 weeks and Blake Bortles plays for 5 of them, he's a GOAT, okay? He's gonna throw this ball. He's going to sling it. He's trying to get his job back as a starter in the NFL. So Jerry Jeudy's going to be his favorite target. And Noah Fant, who is just absolutely amazing. 19 points both weeks almost, right? Or 17, 19, whatever it is. Amazing. So, yeah, you have to grab Jerry Jeudy if you can do it. If you can grab Jerry Jeudy right now, I think that's a really good buy. Kind of running out of things to talk about, I think. Like I said, stick with me. It's my first week of doing fantasy. Like, I don't even know. I don't have a schedule set up. Maybe I should make a list. They're who I add, drop. I don't know. I didn't make any lists or anything like that. I'm just doing this. And am I gonna do the picks video right after this? I should, but am I going to? I don't know how I did last week. I know I got the Saints and Raiders game wrong, and I think I got a few other games wrong. I don't know. I definitely didn't. I get the first game wrong, the Browns-Bengals. Yeah, I'm probably going to do that video right after this video. And I think that's wrapping it up. Let's give a hand to Dak Prescott going off this week, 3 rushing touchdowns. He had like 39-something points or something like that. Maybe a little bit less. I don't know. Josh Allen, he had like 35 to 40 points. I'm saying 35 to 40 because one of the leagues I have him in as my starting quarterback last week, I benched Russell Wilson, started Josh Allen. A bold move, but he's playing the freaking Dolphins. So I'm like, I got to start Josh Allen. So I did. And he had 42 points in that league, but I think the passing yards like jacked up in that league or something like that. So he has more than he should in that league. All quarterbacks do. But he did beat Russell in that league, so I don't know if he did in regular leagues, but he had like 30. He had to have had 34, 35, or 36 points in the regular league. 42 in my league, so he did. It was a good start for me. Still lost in that league because I had Gronk as my tight end, getting me double zeros. Gronk, I love him. I love Gronk, but he's hurting my feelings right now. He's hurting my feelings by losing my games. All right, guys, that's it for week 1 or week 2, the first fantasy video. I'm going to try to have more of a standard thing, maybe a little bit more structure. This video is like, what is he even talking about? He's going off in tangents, and he's like, I honestly have no idea what he's talking about. Like, what is he even saying? I don't know. All right, and again, I always say, if I gave you good fantasy advice, I'm the one. I'm the guy. Brag about me, right? Oh, Peter gave me great fantasy advice. If I gave you the wrong fantasy advice, though, you didn't hear it from me. Some other guy named Peter. Maybe my dad or my grandpa. They're all named Peter. So it was one of them. Wasn't me. All right? I only give good advice. I don't give bad advice. And if it is bad, it's not me. It's somebody else. Maybe a clone or something like that. That's it for this video. So, yeah, subscribe, comment something. Just say, hey, what's up, Peter? I just want to see a comment, just one. If you got to the end of this video and you didn't comment, I'm going to be hurting in my heart. Just say hi. That's it. That's all I want. And subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Listen, I want to be sponsored by Stewart's, right? Stewart. I want to be sponsored by Stewart's by the end of this whole thing. This is the end of the season. I want to be sponsored by the end of the season. And they're not going to want to sponsor a guy with 92 subscribers. So I need you guys to subscribe. All right? I need it. And I'm going to keep emailing Stewart's because I want to be sponsored by Stewart's. They're really personal to me, all right? I go to Stewart's a lot, every day. Sometimes 3 times, all right, a day. Coffee twice. So if there's one person I want to sponsor me, it's them. All right? So I hope you guys win your fantasy matchups next week. Unlike what happened to me, losing, I hope you guys win, and I hope I can come back and win. So good luck. Hopefully the injury bug stays out of football. Hopefully this was the worst weekend in football for injuries, and it's done. No more ACLs, please. There was like 10 guys this weekend that tore their ACLs, if not more, on defense and offense. We don't need that in fantasy. We don't need it in football in general. So stay out of the NFL, and I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday, hopefully, because I almost forgot to do a video today, doing fantasy. Peace out, guys.